Why successful women struggle, lose in the game of love. I know that some of you are thinking, well, I'm not successful, I don't have all that money, so maybe this has nothing to do with me. But we're all successful, especially those of us who are in the first world with first world problems. We're more successful than our female counterparts anywhere in the world. And in order for us to be successful, we've had to take on certain protocols that are necessary to compete and be competitive in the marketplace. But these things just do not serve us in the game of love. So I'm just going to come and talk to you about that. I will see you on the other side. Hello and welcome back. My name is Chengi. I am your dating and relationship expert here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, where my coaches and I teach you beautiful swans how to present as a high value, high status and high worth woman that high quality men find completely irresistible. If that sounds like you, then you are absolutely on the right channel, and I would love it if you would kindly subscribe, like, share, and follow us here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. I'm really excited because we're at 80,000, and I'm sure I might be watching this 2 years later and thinking, gosh, you were at 80,000, now you're at 800 million. I don't know. It's always fascinating for me when I hear myself talking about the numbers that we have on YouTube. Anyway, without boring you to death, I really do want to thank you for your support over the years. For those, my day ones who are still with me, I love you, appreciate you. And for those who are new to this channel, you are so welcome, and thank you for joining us on this journey. This channel you will find, for those of you who have been with us for a while, or some of you might be wondering, how come she's got 80,000 subscribers and so few million views? I have actually removed 3/4 of the content on this channel. The reason for that is because I am ready to really serve you some hot food. I really want us to grow, and we're not going to grow if we're largely just working through strategy. Now, obviously, I've created the dating playbook, which has all the strategies you need for dating as a high quality woman. Every single scenario you can possibly imagine is in the dating playbook. It's a course, it's got tons of videos, tons of workbooks. Once you do that, you totally know how to date as a high quality woman. But knowing what to do is half the problem. The other half, and I think possibly the foundational problem, is knowing who to be. And this is really to do with our being grounded within our divine feminine energy. So today I want to talk to you about how femininity or masculinity really shows up in successful women in such a way that we struggle a little bit. And I want to put my hand up. I struggled a little bit. And to be honest with you, I want to say that a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video, you are not conscious of. They're all happening subconsciously. These are just neurological pathways that have been set in place in your mind that just run on autopilot. And so it's very difficult to see yourself as a successful woman because you're more aware, I'm sure, of how kind and sweet and loving and just how much you have to offer a man. We're so conscious of how good we are as people sometimes that we often are blindsided to characteristics and dispositions and proclivities and little ways about us that can be really extremely off-putting to the masculine high value man. And then of course we can just simply conclude, well, it's because I'm successful and he's intimidated by my success. It's so much easier to make that conclusion, isn't it? It feels better to the ego, it feels better to us to make it somebody else's problem when we're not winning in an area of life. But for those of you who watch and are here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, and you're ready for some real food, real education, really ready to dig your heels in and learn how to be good at relationships, then watch this video regardless of where you find yourself in the game of love. Of course, the coaches will be releasing many strategy videos telling you what to say, what to do, and now and again I'll pop in and give you some game, ladies. But really the biggest game is the position we're taking from within ourselves. So let's get right into the video, and I'm going to share this based on the experience I have. My practice is full of all types of women from all walks of life, but to work with me personally, usually you have to be pretty successful. You really usually need to be doing really well in your business or in your career to be able to work with me personally, because my time is so very limited creating courses and creating videos and doing all the multiple things I do behind the scenes to make Black Swan possible. So I really can say firsthand that not only have I struggled myself in the past, but I can really tell you that categorically 100%, I'll probably say 99.9% of the time, when I am working with celebrity women, when I'm working with successful women, when I'm working with, you know, women who run Fortune 500 companies, who hold big positions, I mean, we all seem to have the same problem. And so we're gonna just look at exactly what these problems are. And the number one problem that we have is patience. In fact, the lack thereof. Successful women struggle with patience. Why? Because in order to succeed in life and in the marketplace, we all, men and women, have to be in masculine energy. We all have to be very goal orientated. We have to respond urgently, quickly, and we have to push the needle on every single point in order for us to actually win. We cannot lie back and expect things to fall in our laps now, can we? No, we have to work very hard for everything, and we have to learn to push the needle and to move with urgency and to be really responsive and to really be on top of everything. And so our nervous system and our neurological pathways become systemized to move with urgency. We don't trust anything that moves slowly. We don't trust anything that doesn't have momentum. It's the rhythm of success. It's the rhythm of creating success, especially when it comes to money. It requires a degree of urgency, and so we're naturally wired to want urgency in others, in our relationships, with our children, and often we create that urgency by becoming very controlling. We are able to produce results by our ability to create processes, right? We have to control a process very intricately and very well in order for it to yield a return. Control is an important part of masculine energy. It's an important part of work. It's an important part of making money. It's an important part of achievement. It's an important part of winning, okay? And so we know that in order to get success, you have to be able to win. You have to be able to control processes to the best of your ability. You need to be able to preempt. Sometimes you even need to be ahead of the game. Say amen if you're a successful woman that's out here kicking butts and taking names. If you're that girl, say amen. And if you're not that girl, you know, you've watched it. You're maybe on a career path. You're probably building yourself up to that job and that career and that position that you wanted, or you were still hammering away at the entrepreneur wheel like many of us are doing, and you know what it takes. You know you can't sleep on the job. You know you can't rest on the job. You know that in order to prove yourself, it's a daily grind and it's a constant go. And this is the protocol that we bring into our relationships. Successful women that are on an upward trajectory, are very, very, very impatient with men. We're impatient with their pace. We're impatient with letting things flow in the way they should. And this is important because the feminine energy is patient energy. The feminine is always rested, patient, leaning back and letting things flow through her creative energy. The feminine wins by leaning back and allowing a process to unfold as it should. And I have this conversation call upon call, client upon client, where we don't want to wait. We want to send a text message and we require responsiveness. We want to open our heart and immediately have him come to the rescue. We want a man to be moving at 100 miles an hour, showing up in the way that we told him to show up, making our requests known to him, and immediately seeing a change in that man. I would love this to happen, and when it doesn't happen at quantum speed and quantum progress, we are thrown into a panic. Then we lurch forward, and then we try to control. We get into masculine energy, and we literally blow the relationship to hell, because there is no man who is masculine and sits in his masculine energy who is comfortable being controlled. I mean, who is? How many of us are comfortable being controlled so much by leading from the back and pushing your agenda because you just can't wait for him to work out what he wants to do? I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm not talking about waiting 100 years before he puts a ring on it. I'm not talking about a man that takes months and months and months and months to ask you out on a date. But I am talking about a laid backness that allows you to observe how a man is performing. And sometimes we don't even give ourselves an opportunity, because like R.C. Blake says, it is our job to approve that which pursues, right? How are we going to approve him if we're so busy running the agenda? You have to be able to lean back and watch how he naturally shows up for you, what he is naturally willing to do for you. Now, that doesn't mean at all, under any circumstances, that you do not ask for your needs to be met. And there is a way that we ask for our needs to be met, not by demanding that they be met or else we walk away, not by stating our standards in a lofty and haughty way, but really in a feminine, passive, patient way. And this is why I created the How to Talk to Men So They Listen. I'm not going to go into that course. You can download that from blackswanrelationshipacademy.com, but I really want to stay on the course that yes, you can ask for your needs to be met, and yes, to a degree you can expect your needs to be met, but it's not going to happen straight away on your time. You're not going to get a man who has been living a certain way, treating women particularly a certain way, just automatically become your dream guy. We're very impatient with processes, and we don't realize this, but it actually pushes men away at 100 miles an hour. Because when men feel that on an energetic level, when it's felt in the vibration of your frequency, men will literally bow out of the race. No man wants to feel like he's being herded like sheep. And to be honest, even in our workplace, people don't want to feel like they're being herded like sheep, and most times they have to take it because they get paid to be herded like sheep. But the man you're dating does not get paid to be herded like sheep. Patience, 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 Black Swan. Just lean back and let it flow. Let him lead. See if you like his pace. If you don't like his pace, maybe you're incompatible. If his pace is fine, but you just want it to be faster because you have a goal, you've set your agenda, you will always hemorrhage in the game of love when it comes. I created the Black Swan Nation because I wanted women from all over the world to be able to access on the point help with their dating and relationship needs. We have the expertise of our world-class coaches, including myself, supporting you ladies through your dating journey to have access to live coaching without having to blow the bank. This, of course, we can only take a certain amount of ladies and support a certain amount of ladies, but I want you to know that you are currently welcome to the Black Swan Nation. You may end up on a waiting list, or you may get lucky and be able to get right into the Black Swan Nation, where we provide more insight, where we discuss more personal stories that will be of use to you. In the Black Swan Nation, there are no holds barred. It is unfiltered. It is only for the brave, because in the Black Swan Nation, we give you the raw truth. So all you have to do is follow the link on this video, and we will see you on the other side. The next thing that we need to deal with is the take charge energy. I see this a lot in my clients. I saw this a lot in myself. I see it a lot in successful women. He's not asking me out yet. What do I do to get him to do it? He's not moving or doing what I want. How do I take charge and go? Sometimes, ladies, it's okay to let it be. Really ask yourself, if it goes undone, it's undone. You know, will it change the weather? Will it affect me adversely? in any way? If the answer is no, then, well, why do we need to take charge? Why do we need to step in and rescue the man? We tend to want to step in and be the rescue mission. How about letting him explain to you how he wants to lead? How about a more curious approach rather than a controlling take charge approach, which is more masculine, brilliant in the workplace? Go in there, take charge, make the rules, make it happen. That's how winning is done in the workplace. But in a masculine and feminine dynamic principle, in a relationship, it is to your benefit, young lady, to lean back and do not take charge. Don't try and rescue him. Don't try and give him answers to questions he has not asked you. Stop seeing the problem 10 steps ahead and placing yourself as the solution. Sometimes we just have to trust that the man that we're choosing to invest our time and attention into must be possibly smart and capable and competent. Otherwise, why are we choosing him? Why are we choosing a man who is not capable, competent, and completely able to help to lead the relationship? If we don't feel we can trust his leadership, let's not waste our time, and certainly let's not waste his time. But if we have assessed this man that he is worthy even of a first date, then maybe we may want to not take charge. Perhaps we can wait for him to come and ask for our opinion. Maybe we can wait for him to explain his situation and ask him, would you like me to give you a solution in mind that I might have in mind, or an idea, instead of going in there and sorting out his world and mothering the hell out of him and taking charge and making him know that if it wasn't for you, his life would be falling apart, and so he needs you and he's got to have you. And a lot of these things come from fear and the ego and the desire to prove that we are worthy, because if we are not truly worthy, then at least we shall be needed. When we don't feel worthy inside of us, we present ourselves as somebody that other people need, and this is what allows us, or ends up in us, in a situation where we're in toxic, abusive relationships, or where men are running away because they still want to be in charge of their lives. They still want to have a say in the relationship. And your ability to truly lean back and let him take charge of his life, to take charge of the relationship, and observe and decide whether this is something that you want to veto or go along with. This is your option. The next point is the ultimatum, my way or the highway. This sense that, wow, if he doesn't do what I need him to do, because I've already mentioned it to him 3 times, like I've told him my status 3 times, and if he doesn't want to do it, then I'm just gonna walk away. I'm just gonna walk away because I'm a black swan and I'm high value and I'm just like so important. Sound familiar? Some of us have a my way or the highway mindset. We share our standards and our boundaries with men as though we are setting an ultimatum. When we give our standards and our boundaries to our men, to the men that we are dating, to even our husband, it is not to be dealt with violence, with threatening language or behavior or energy. When we share our standards and our boundaries, it must always be done with love. It must always be done with the desire to reconcile, to find peace, to find compromise, and to find a way forward for the relationship. Not for yourself, not necessarily for him, but so the relationship can move a needle point forward, so the relationship can have an opportunity to build momentum. If I communicate my standards and my boundaries with a penalty at the end of it, well, this is my standard. If I don't get my standard, I'm just going to keep on moving because I don't hang around anything or anyone that does all of this. It's okay to set your standards. That I am really not the kind of girl who's going to wait around a lifetime for a man to decide whether or not he will marry me or not. And I would hate to drag a man up the aisle kicking and screaming. I would love the man that I'm with to be on the same path as me, to be as intentional as I am and want the same things. And if he doesn't, it's perfectly okay. And he has every right to not want that. That is how we communicate with love. But when we're like, look, if you don't like meet my need in like 6 months, I'm out. okay? Because I'm not hanging around for that. I'm just not doing it. And this is something that many of us get up to, but some of us successful girls are so used to sacking people, moving people around like bits on a chessboard, that we actually forget not to speak to our man like that. Chances are we shouldn't be speaking to anybody like that, but sometimes needs must. In a workplace environment, sometimes there's just some people who are just not invested to work as hard as they should, and therefore they leave us with absolutely no choice but to take charge, to take the lead, and to ask them to go to the left. But in our relationships with men, we have to hone in and break down that spirit of needing to be large and in charge in a relationship. In truth, a relationship is very cyclical. It's about feeding each other through this eternal web where it almost becomes synergetic, just one flow of energy, where we're not really doing who's large and in charge. We know there's a leader and we know that there's a follower, but even in that, there is a beautiful complementariness where each other submit to one another and each other have a sense of respect, but understand their position and their placing in the complement that they are to each other. If we come with the my way or the highway, then we're always gonna come with competitive energy. And for those of you who understand and have been following my work for a long time, masculine energy is by nature competitive, and you don't want to bring in competitive energy into your relationship if you really want harmony and peace, which are the components that actually keep a relationship floating and positioned to bring joy and peace and happiness to the couple. Last but not least, and this is probably similar to the first point, learn to trust the process. I know that this is a little bit alien. In business, we can't just lean back and trust the process. At work, in our career, we can't just trust the process. We probably have to, but it's not how many of us were taught to win. We have to be large and in charge, take advantage of every single thing and make sure that all the cogs are in place so that the machinery that is our career or our business can work. But in the game of love, we need to learn to trust the process. We need to learn to trust that there is bigger, better, brighter working in our favor than just our efforts, than just our words, than just our techniques, than just the things that we have to say. That we have to realize that there is more at work. You know, I love the scripture that says, greater is he who's on the inside of me than he that is in the world. Above all, I also like another scripture that says, there are more that are with us than those who are against us. What that means is that there's more working on your behalf internally and externally to ensure your victory. Something that isn't 100% dependent on your behavior. When you have done everything to stand. When you have done all your Black Swan protocols, you have communicated with love, you have shown up as a high value feminine Black Swan, you have done all of the things that you know are high value, high status, and high worth. Now just trust the process. Trust that if he is a good man, he's going to see that, salute that, honor that, and make that a crown upon his head. Or if he's a bad man, he is ultimately going to show up for who he is. Learning to trust the process is such an important part for every single successful woman. It's very counterintuitive, but it's so necessary for relationships. Trusting that you've done all that you can be, being all that you can be, and now you are resting in the bigger plan for your life because there's somebody else who's already mapped out your whole entire life. This way, we don't push against the impossible, but we work with the flow of God, the universe, the earth, the planet, the resources, and above all, we enter into the flow of love, into the rhythm of relationships. This is so important for you, my beautiful, busy, successful woman who has so much to offer a man. Trust me, your success, your bank account is not scary to every man. Yes, there's some men who will put on their trainers and run out the door because they haven't worked on themselves. They haven't done the internal work to validate themselves and define themselves as men. But there are many men who may even earn less, have less, but really are competent and capable in their own identity, are solid in their manhood, and they're not gonna run because you make $1 million or you make high and above the average income. They're not gonna go running as fast as you can chase them. No, some men are here to stay. They are not gold diggers. They're not trying to get a leg up. They just see the beautiful version of you and they do want to love you. And of course, why not? Why should it not be a perk to date a successful woman? That's just wonderful if a man can land that. So that's not a judgment towards him, but he will absolutely run if we do not address some of our mindsets and our mentalities, some of the reasons we end up stuck in this cycle of men just leaving, getting into their feelings and walking away. I'm not saying that when men leave you, it is your fault 100% of the time. But what I am saying is we should take care of the 50% that is our problem and hope and pray the men that we meet have taken care of their 50%. Love and relationships simply will not work without an element of faith. And so I want to invite you to take that element of faith. And of course, if you feel like you want to talk to myself or any of the coaches here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, you know where to reach us. Just follow the link in the bio and you will be able to contact us. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. But in the meantime, do take care of you. Love you lots. Bye-bye now. Well done for coming to the end of this video. What I want to ask you is, what have you learned? What is your takeaway? And what are you going to start practicing right away? Those 3 things are how you are going to get the best out of every class here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Please put it in the comments so that we can all have a look. So I can have a look, the coaches can have a look, and I promise you, we read every comment. We may not be able to reply to every comment, but we read all of your comments and we want to see how you are growing. And we will see you on the next video.